Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware. They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization is seen as unconscionable, and it's un-American.
There you have the current sitting president of the United States referring to nearly half the electorate as garbage, which is not something that we should be supportive of, regardless of where we stand on this political spectrum, because setting a precedent where the president of the United States, who has taken an oath to represent this country and protect our Constitution, is a dangerous precedent to set. We wouldn't like it if Trump said similar things. In fact, when Trump does say disgusting things about voters, about his political opponents, we condemn him because that is not a sign of leadership. That is a sign of an individual who seeks to sow division in the country, hatred in the country. It's something that should be condemned. A sitting president referring to nearly half of the electorate as garbage is not a good look and does not set a good standard when it comes to the leadership that this country, that the voters of this country should be looking for, should be demanding, should require of our leaders and of the president. Now, luckily, Kamala Harris gave a very different message, and I want to commend her for that, because as Biden was making those statements, Kamala Harris was giving a speech of her own. And her speech was wonderful, and I'm gonna get to that in just a minute. But before I do, Biden tried to clarify his comments after he stepped in it. Now, of course, there was a lot of gaslighting from his supporters before he came out and put out this statement, basically gaslighting about how he didn't actually say that, even though we all saw the video and you could see it for yourself, you could hear it for yourself. The gaslighting only makes this situation worse. Please don't engage in that. But Biden says earlier today, I referred to the hateful rhetoric about Puerto Rico spewed by Trump's supporter at the Madison Square Garden rally as garbage, which is the only word I can think of to describe it. His demonization of Latinos is unconscionable. That's all I meant to say. The comments at that rally don't reflect who we are as a nation. But he didn't call or simply call the comedian garbage. He called Trump's supporters garbage, as you all heard, and he shouldn't have done that. Now, unfortunately, Kamala Harris is now trying to clean up Biden's mess. And if you guys can recall, earlier this week, we shared a story with you indicating that Harris's campaign is trying to persuade Biden to stop campaigning for her. And I think after you saw the video of Biden, you can understand why the Harris campaign feels that way. Instead, Biden has decided to pursue campaigning on behalf of Kamala Harris without even letting her campaign know about it ahead of time. I don't know if that's what happened in this particular case, but Axios reported earlier this week that it certainly happened at one event that Biden was campaigning at. I think he should respect her wishes and just maybe sit this out. Now, with that in mind, Kamala Harris does deserve credit for a speech that she was giving around the same time that Biden made his comments. And I think that the message in her speech shows what a real leader should sound like and believe in. Take a look.
Our democracy doesn't require us to agree on everything. In fact, we like good arguments from time to time. Just think of your own family, right? It's not the American way to not have disagreements. We don't shy away from robust debate. In fact, we like a good debate, don't we? We like a good debate. And the fact that someone disagrees with us does not make them the enemy within. That's right. They are family, neighbors, classmates, co-workers. They are fellow Americans.
That's what a leader says. A leader doesn't look at nearly half the electorate and call them garbage. Because if someone wants to serve as any public servant, but certainly as the president of the United States, you have to represent everyone. You have to look out for everyone. I remember when, there were wildfires in California and Trump was president, and he essentially threatened to withhold relief funding for the state of California as the state was being ravaged by these wildfires. How infuriating was that? Donald Trump saw Democratic voters as unworthy of the same representation that he was willing to provide for his supporters. That was wrong. If you are a Democrat and you're trying to provide cover for what Biden said, well, then you're part of the problem as well. Because you are pushing to set a precedent that is incredibly toxic and not helpful at all. The president is supposed to represent the people, not simply the people who voted for him, not simply the people who supported him. Whether it's a Democrat president or a Republican president, I don't give a damn. That individual has taken an oath, and that individual should do what's right and what's best to lead this country and represent the people. That is my take on it. People find that offensive because, Biden or a Democrat is considered a sacred cow, unworthy of any criticism. This ain't the show for you. Sorry. My values go beyond political tribes. I know a lot of people are upset about that, but if you're looking for a partisan show that's obsessed with political tribes, go look for it. There's a slew of those programs out there on YouTube, in the mainstream media. Take your pick. Now, unfortunately, Kamala Harris keeps getting asked about what Biden had to say. So here's one of the interactions that she had with a reporter. Let's take a look.
President Biden put this comment last night about garbage.
Listen, I think that, first of all, he clarified his comments, but let me be clear, I strongly disagree with any criticism of people based on who they vote for. You heard my speech last night and continuously throughout my career. I believe that the work that I do is about representing all the people, whether they support me or not.
Again, Kamala Harris knocks it out of the park. That was the correct answer. And I'm proud of her. I really am, for pushing back against what we heard from Biden. Now, some of you think what Biden said was totally okay because you agree. You think that half the electorate is definitely, garbage. But you're a private citizen. You are entitled to your beliefs. You're entitled to your views. You are not the president of the United States. You are not a person who took an oath to serve this country. And if you think it's okay for Biden to say such things, I don't want to hear any of you crying about the next president. If the next president is Donald Trump, I don't want to hear you crying when he says negative things about the Democratic electorate. Because hey, he's entitled to his opinion, right? He's the president of the United States, but it's totally okay to trash half the electorate. Man, we are quickly becoming everything that we purport to hate about the right. Just keeping it real. Now, I want to go to one last video because one of the other reasons why you want to avoid making gross statements like that about tens of millions of American voters is because your political opponents will seize on it and they will use it against you. In fact, Donald Trump is seizing on the moment right now as we speak, and you should have expected that to happen. Take a look.
Remember Hillary, she said deplorable? And then she said irredeemable, right? But she said deplorable, that didn't work out. Garbage, I think, is worse, right? But he doesn't know, you have to please forgive him. Please forgive him, for he not knoweth what he said.
I'm sure that his comments will become more and more harsh or unhinged moving forward. That was actually ridiculously toned down considering what I was expecting him to do. But can we just please not provide cover for our leaders when they make mistakes like this? That was a terrible mistake that Biden made. It should not be justified. Again, if you're a private citizen and you have your personal views about the Republican electorate, that's on you and that's your business. You have not taken an oath to represent the country. You're not the president of the United States. And I don't know why anyone would think it's a good idea to celebrate or applaud political culture in this country that allows for the president to just regularly trash tens of millions of people that he himself is supposed to be representing. That is not a good culture to set. And things will just continue devolving. I don't think that this is a winning thing to do. I'm not proud of what Biden did. And honestly, the thing that frustrates me even more is that after he made those statements, even though he was on video making those statements, a bunch of people are totally gaslighting about how it didn't happen. It's totally made up, it's fake. It's a scary world that we're currently living in, where a lot of people, a lot of voters, a lot of people in the media, just not based in, their views are not based in reality at all. And they would rather lie to people in order to cover up a mistake or a terrible act of an individual in a position of power. I don't even recognize what's happened to the Democratic Party anymore, to be honest. And luckily, you have people like Kamala Harris pushing back, and I'm really proud of her for doing that. And if you're offended by it, be offended by it. I don't really care. I see the direction that the country's going in with this type of divisive, disgusting rhetoric from people who, again, went out of their way to get elected to represent the people. When you make that decision, when you are awarded that position by the people, you need to represent the people, including the individuals who decided to cast their ballots for someone else.
If you enjoyed this video, that's because of our members. They make us independent, they make us strong, and they make us honest. Become a member today by hitting the join button below.